Everybody, I'm Natalia Bonner. It's day 122. Today we're going to be stitching using my inside out machine quilting ruler. And I do also want to remind you, or let you know if you haven't seen it yet, my newest book, Visual Guide to Creative Straight Line Quilting, is now available for purchase. You can pick it up at your local quilt shop, or I've got copies available. I have signed copies actually on my website, peaceandquilt.com. Before we get to the video though, the thread that I'm using here is so fine. That's what I'm using on the top. The thread that I'm using on my bobbin is bottom line. All of my quilting is done on my Gamble 22-inch machine in the stitch regulated mode, and I have my stitch length set at 12 stitches per inch. Alrighty, let's get stitching. I'll start out by using my blue Mark Be Gone marker and marking a T through the center of my block. Once I've done that, I'm going to measure out from the center and mark a square that is 1 inch out from the center on all 4 sides. Now it's time to start stitching. Beginning in the upper left corner of the block, I'm going to stitch back and forth vertical straight lines every 1/2 inch. Using just the markings on my inside out ruler, I'll stitch my first line, travel along the ditch until my first marked line on my machine quilting ruler is on top of my thread. I'll repeat this process moving back and forth until I've filled in that top section completely. From there, I'll move down to the bottom left section. Now I'm going to rotate and stitch the same lines, 1/2 inch spacing. This time though, they're going to go horizontal. So I'll repeat that process, filling in that lower left corner of the block with 1/2 inch spaced horizontal lines. I'm going to repeat this process on the remaining 2 squares, the lower left corner and the upper, or the lower right corner and the lower or upper right corner, alternating direction on both of those squares. Once I've done that, I'll stitch around, work my way back to the center, stitch around that center block that I've left open. Now you can leave this block open, or you can always add a fun filler in there. This is a great place for like a fussy cut element, something like that on a block. Now we'll move on and stitch some fun angular lines through the center of that inside square. So a little cheater way to know how to line up your machine quilting ruler, using the inside out ruler, you can see that I have some angular lines engraved into the ruler. So I'll line up one of those angular lines with my previous stitch line, the horizontal stitch line. By doing that, I know that my angular line is going to be exactly a 45-degree angle, or close to. I'm not perfect, so pretty close to perfect. All right, so from there, I'll stitch my first angular line, then I'll travel along my previous stitch line, moving up 1/4 inch. Another way to know that you've moved up just 1/4 inch, the side of your foot, if you're using a ruler foot, most ruler feet are made so that the outside of the ruler is 1/4 inch from your needle position. So I'll stitch up so that my ruler foot is at the side of my stitch line. From there, I'll repeat that process, traveling back and forth in those angular lines until I filled in that center square completely. friends. I hope you enjoyed today's blog and found a little bit of inspiration with my machine quilting. Now just remember, you can pick up the panel, the rulers, the thread, all of the notions that I'm using in this video today over on my website, peaceandquilt.com. And don't forget to share your progress pictures over on Instagram using the hashtag Let's Stitch with Natalia. That's where we will be selecting winners for weekly prizes. See you all tomorrow.